In previous stream, I've been talking about the uh, shared perception, and I've been sharing my thoughts about the idea that when we share with people our live through experiences, and I don't only mean um, uh, conscious experience, and I don't only mean by sharing the verbal communication, because I think that we influence people's perception just and our own and other people influence our perception too, just by being together in one space, right? But there are different methods as well as levels of the uh, shared process, right? Of the process of sharing. And uh, of course, it can be deeper and deeper the more reflective it is of to our um, actual comprehension. Um, the closer, of course, it reflects the reality of what we experience, the deeper it is shared. And so the level of the sharing, the deepness of it, depends on how much it actually represents, how accurately it represents what we perceive and experience. And I want to share thoughts on how on the ways how we can um, what just widen, enhance, improve uh, our life. And I believe strongly that a significant factor to it is a shared lived experience. And um, because I know that isolation kills us, isolation brings us death. But when we are nurtured by the care of other people and um, our development is enhanced, and uh, on the other hand, when we are refuse this care, when we are refuse this socialization, our development is uh, like blocked, and this is very important because it suggests the complete dependence on other people. And of course, as we grow, we strive to autonomy, and this is the very definition of maturity, is to kind of become self providing. This is the alternative to being dependent. To become self-sufficient, right? And this directly linked to maturity. And of course, as we mature, as we grow, as we increase our capacities, we become less and less dependent on other people to provide for us. But still, the significant need, the necessary need, is still always there, and it will be. And I'll explain why. Because I believe that shared experiences enhance our life, that we live more literally when we share our perception. Because I remind what I've been mentioning in the other video is that because other people, when we share our experiences, they can literally experiences what we did. When we share with people our identity, um, they become able to um, biologically, physiologically experience what we do. This is something unique because it says that our perception, our live-through experience, our identity can be transmitted to other people as to become their own. You know, they can our pain can become their pain, our happiness can become their happiness. On some level, and the more they will be able to understand what we experience, the more they will be able to mirror it, and the more our experience and identity will be passed on to them. And I want to link it to the idea of value that I'm going to bring, because I believe that what we search for something as we live, that our perception is oriented towards something, towards the end goal. And biologically, we have needs and desires. And it means that what you can say it poetic if you want. We have a mission, we have a goal to achieve, we have uh, something to reach for. And so we have a task, right? We have, you can say, a problem that we need to solve for ourselves that is presented to us, not least biologically, but also psychologically, as we again depended um, on other people. And um, things that we're looking for present value to us, right? They, by definition, they become valuable because they mean to us, and the more we want them, the more we strive to achieve them. The more we're ready to sacrifice for them, the more we're ready to work for them, and um, the higher is the value in that thing for us, right? And so um, we are looking for something that presents a value to us, and um, all people do. It's a biological predisposition. It's embodied in our nature. We're looking for something. We need something. And so all people are looking for something, and because we share our uh, biological similarity, we looking for similar things, and that's why we compete for resources, because uh, we strive communally for something, um, and um, this problem can uh, this can become a problem to us and can kind of spark the conflict, or it can um, become a uniting solution to actually achieve what we want to in a more efficient manner, faster, with less resources being sacrificed, with reduced costs. And we can do it if we so right, it would be a solution for us if we would cooperate, and if we would unite under the one goal, under the one task, right? But it would be a problem leading to conflict if we would, when we become selfish and when we compete to own it. You know, when we don't want to share, and when we don't want to what? When we want all the benefit for ourselves, it makes it harder for us, because then we need to compete and we can cooperate. And you know, theory of economics is full with such examples. It's full with examples of the games people play to achieve the maximum benefit with minimum cost. And many games include many such like game theories include the deceptive strategies, and they do so because exactly due to the reason because deception can bring you faster to the desired end. Now, I'm not saying that it's good, or it leads to better consequences, but I am saying that it can bring you faster to where you want to go, or what you want to give you faster what you want to have. And when people proceed being selfish, when they are unwilling to share, they start playing deceptive strategies, because if they because they are start to compete and not cooperate. Because if they would unite under the same goal, if they would have one goal, and it would not be a problem for them if they would be willing to share, then they could unite, and then they could complement each other's capacities and resources, and they would help each other to go together to one point, and they would not need to be afraid, in as long as they can trust the willingness of the other person to be united for one goal. But when the trust is undermined, and instead of counting on the willingness of the other person to cooperate, you should count on his self-interest, the game changes completely, and you are looking for the ways to kind of precede him to win over him, to be more efficient, to increase your performance, because you count on his self-interest, and you now operate with now you also by yourself, because he's not really trustworthy. You cannot completely rely on him. You by yourself, and what it means means that you are weak and you have to be stronger, because when you are weak, others will use it against you. And so um, better get stronger, or at the point become weak, he will leave you because he won't need you, and he will take the resource you want. He will take the object of value that you are striving for, and he will what run faster to the end goal you both had. And right, and now these when both parties can trust each other, uh, it becomes completely game of power and of deception, because um, you compete, and now it's way harder for you to get what you want, as you have the competition, as you are not united together, as you do not cooperate. He's your enemy. You kind of play against. Um, um, he won't wait for you. He won't help you. He'll just take what you want and leave you with nothing. And so, uh, the deception is always there to serve you to get faster where you want. And uh, as you can trust him, you also can trust that he wants to use it, the same deception that you have an opportunity to use. So you know, the end goal, instead of being a solution, and instead of being the opportunity for the progress and union, becomes a problem of conflict and competition. Um, and I want to talk about the um, end goal being um, an opportunity for enhanced life. Uh, Adding up to what I've been mentioned previously about our enhanced perception when it is shared with others. Uh, as we share our perception, uh, our gains multiply. As now I became more, it became more of me. If you noticed, couples consider them to be like they have a shared identity. Married couples, they have a shared identity. It's us. Uh, it's not me uh, and you separately. It's us. Yeah, things become shared, and identity becomes shared, and live through experience becomes shared. Um, when people unite in, communities unite in a nation, now it's also us, I as a nation versus they, you know, versus you is another nation. And so, right, when experience is shared, we kind of extend our identity, extend our perception. And what it means now, as more people share your goals, your values, your beliefs, your um, resources, uh, it becomes more of it, right? You because now it's not only your experience, and it's your experience and the experience of another person. It's a sound game. So when you share, you obviously have more. And this is my theory, that when we share our experience life, we have more of it. And when I think this shared um, perception allows us for a complete new level of shared value of the growth. I believe that um, this is the way to um, improved comprehension, as I already mentioned, but it's also a better way for the greater and more efficient exchange of value. Because now you cooperate, you complement each other's um, uh, resources, and resources considering everything, not just things, but your skills, knowledge, perception, um, bodies, right? What I can do with my body, you can do with yours. You are limited just in yourself. But when it's two of us, we can be now what uh, in different spaces doing more things. So when your identity enhanced, you can achieve much more. And you would say it's obvious when you cooperate, you uh, get to do more things, and that's why people do it. But I want to consider another like level of it, because sometimes we waiting uh, for things to happen in our lives, and sometimes we uh, think that if I'll be better by myself, then other people will notice it. My life will become better. But this is the view of a limited reductive perception that does not takes into that is limited because it's limited in its comprehension, and it's limited in its comprehension when it does not takes the um, uh, consideration takes into considerations other perception, other interests. When it can't enhance itself um, onto others, and so people who think about themselves in this way, they um, look only from their own perception. Sometimes it's not, their selfishness does not comes from beliefs, but it comes from ignorance. It comes from inability to understand more, from uh, uh, inability to be empathetic, literally feel what other people do, or in desire of doing it. Maybe it's willful um, ignorance. But it's not necessarily malice, but it's still your limited perception, your inability to understand the necessities of and perception of other people makes you limited because your comprehension is reduced. Um, and so, but when it's not, okay, when it's first, when you view things only from your own side, you say, I need something, and I want something to be the way I want it to be. I want the reality be a certain way, and um, how can I? And maybe you ask yourself a question. Well, then how? What can I do so the reality will turn out how I want it to be? But then you live through life and you notice that your actions uh, influence the reality and change things for the better. And so you think, great. Well, great. Now I see. Now I experience it. I do something, and it's and I become better at it. I do something, and life changes, and so now you have this question before yourself, because you have needs and desires. You have a question: what should I do so life will turn out how I want, the way I want it to be? And it's a completely logical question to ask yourself, and we're all faced with it. And what you then could do uh, is to look at other people, and then you look at other people and you see maybe them being good at something, being like mastering some skills, working really hard, and etc. And I'm not saying it's bad, absolutely great. So maybe you notice these things and you say, well, great, I should also do it to transform my life positively, right? And you're right, you should. I'm great that conscious awareness helps to figure out this as well. But then some people stop not realizing that the value they want to receive does not just spawns from nowhere. It does not comes and goes randomly. It should be also it should be an effort to take it, and sometimes an effort to do it, because some of things that you would want just basically not natural resources. Maybe you want care, maybe you want love. Well, someone should do it so you would have it. Someone should effort. Maybe you want what fresh cut meat, right? But well, someone should have already someone should have cut it and then cleaned up and then cut it. Someone should should have effort so you would have it. And even if it's you, there should be an effort for things to be. There should be a cause for the effect to appear. It's either you effort or other people effort, and that's how you receive things. Now, what I want to say is that when it's only you effort, you can still receive what you want. Just as you can still live and you live just sharing your perception with like one person. You can still live. Perhaps you want to go crazy, perhaps you won't die. You can still live and share your perception with just one person. But when you count, but you have just less of the perception, less awareness, less comprehension, less lives through experiences, less things you can have when you only count on yourself, when you only count on your perception, and when you don't want to share, when you want to compete, you have less of it. You think you will have more, but you think this way because your perception is limited, and well, because you fear that the game will be played fairly, that the other person will not be willing to share with you honestly, that you will sacrifice too much and receive too little. So you're still selfish, and this selfishness, this reductive perception, this not understanding that other person is hungry too, just as you are, that's not feeling his hunger, and that's not feeling his feelings, that's not feeling his pain, does not let you to be empathetical enough to say, well, I can eat less, or even I can starve, but I want you to eat also because I literally feel your pain, and now your pain became my pain. You have it really rarely, don't you? A truly shared perception. Because it requires risk, I think I mentioned it in the previous video. The more you open up, the more what the more the person has what to hurt you, literally. So the more fear you can have that the game will be played unfairly, and you will be damaged, right? But the fear that you have is there in the, well, in the first place, it's there to protect you. It's of course a defensive mechanism, right? If you would be too altruistic, if your perception would be too shared, you wouldn't care too much of yourself. But when you realize that fear is for you, fear is there for you to keep you alive, protect you. And when life for you becomes something more than just a game of the um, survival, when you uh, as I previously mentioned, as of food and water, when you also want the shared experience, when you also want to enhance your life so it would be better in equality and not the quantity alone, um, then you become ready to do these risks. You understand more of what you want and of what life could be because your perception enhances. As it does, the opportunities exponentially grow for you to ever expand your perception more and more, right? Um. Now, so uh, again, this is the ultimately increased value uh, and uh, grows when you, instead of relying on yourself, share your perception, you unite and cooperate. And now you don't count on yourself, you count on your, but you still are, you see, because now your perception just has been shared. It's more of you, it's more of you, but also in other people. uh, don't want to go too crazy because of course it's not some sort of um anti-utopia where it's like too great of a society, they have a shared mind or something else. No, you still preserve your perception in the sense that is specifically yours. It's linked to your body, and because it has the specific experiences that difference from others, right? But you still have this shared experiences. You now have more problems because someone else's problems become yours, but you also have more resources to solve these problems, and you also have more things to do as you have these problems to solve. And as you solve these problems, you have a greater excitement and a greater sense of meaning than if it would be just yours. You have a greater sense of lived through reality experience. Your experiences have multiplied because the you associate yourself with now um, are other people also, right? Maybe the problems became your problems, but as you together grow in solving them, you help each other to develop and grow together. You don't compete, so you're not afraid. If you play willingly, if you can play without the deceiving, if you can play the trust game, not a trade game. If you can play well, trade in like selfish trade game, I mean completely uh self-interest based game. If you can play a trust game instead of a self game, then you can win the game faster, And the final boss you win can be much stronger, and you still will be able to win him. This is just like a computer game, you know. Um, you go with a team. Why do you go with a team? First, you go with a team because you want to play in a team. Why do you want to play in a team? Why not to play alone? Why not to play alone? You want to play with a team because it's funnier. It's funnier to play with a team. But I want to ask you, why is it funnier to play with a team? Why is it not enough to just play alone? And I'll tell you why. Because your perception has been multiplied. Your perception is what? Your live through experiences too have been multiplied because they've been shared. And now you experience more satisfaction, joy, a dopamine kick. It's multiplied because now it's not only your body, it's other bodies too. And it's completely surprising thing that you can be influenced by another perception on biological level. You can be influenced by what their lives through experience biologically, not just influence like something changes in you, but you can take on what they lived through and live through that, right? It means that you'll have lived what you already live, and you also lived the life they lived. You have experiences, you have experienced, okay, Mike, you have experienced your joy, right? But um, you have also mirrored their joy. So your joy has been multiplied, and so this is the first reason you play with a team, because your experiences multiply. Enhance my life, right? It would have to be a miracle worker to do that. um, well, I believe that people do enhance each other's life because look, I share with you some information. I already, if there is any ability that you have to understand what I'm saying, and to take on the knowledge I provide for you, in some micro level, your life is already enhanced. Is it not true? Like, I'm not trying to be too philosophical. I know I sound like that, but just think of it. It's like we underestimate. We underestimate it because it's our life. We live through that all day long. But when you realize the importance of it on micro level, you know that, well, what should I do then so my life would be significantly better? I should do more of what brings me what uh, I should do more of what um, makes my life better, right? Uh, gives me what I want. So maybe you can change like some what makes it so special. Well, it's not about me, you see. It's completely not about me. Um, it's about look. Maybe I explained it badly, but it's not. It's completely not about me. What's special is the human ability, is the ability of our biological capacity as human beings to take on a lived through experience. When you hear someone telling you can comprehend, and you can not only comprehend it theoretically, you can also understand it emotionally. If because you can relate also. So our similarities, like our biological similarities, allow for this. Okay, our biological similarities allow for this sharing to make a sense. And the point I want to make is that when people share, their life is enhanced, is multiplied. That's why we want to play in a team. That's why we need a team to play a game. That's why, it's so much funnier play a game with a team than alone. Because when you play in a team, you are capable to share each other experiences. Mm, right. Well, it means that. Uh, okay. So good point. I guess it would mean that you don't completely relate to what I experienced. So let's say um, maybe my perception does not add up to you uh, as much, so you don't feel like any point in what I'm saying. So why? Because perception is searching. It has a goal, it has a need, it has a desire, and what it does not bring closer to its desired end, to its desired goal. It dismisses, considers as an obstacle. I have a goal, right? Perception has a goal. The things that does not add up to its goal dismissed as obstacles, not helpful. So if you listen to me and nothing like you feel that, maybe you're just wasting. So first you notice that you can't feel absolutely neutral. There is no absolute neutrality. Um, at some point, stay here, you would either think I waste my time, or you will think that's somewhat helpful, so I should stay for longer, right? Because perception has goal. If it's helpful for you, if it brings you closer to what you want, you're like, okay, it's good, it's better. In relation, better, but in relation to your goal. But when it doesn't, you like, okay, I don't need it. So it's an obstacle. And what I would say is that, um, if it's not helpful for you, then maybe your goal lies in something else. Maybe we don't share. Uh, we of course, this is the thing, that we're not united, because people are united by a shared goal, because their perception is always oriented. You know, and so the reason why you wouldn't like what I say, or is can be related to that, um, you not needing it. You know, can be related to that, to you having another goal, right? Um, and I want to clarify why am I doing this, because um, I want to share this. I think um, many times when I have conversations like that, and I have multiple conversations like that in my life. Imagine this, and imagine that many people don't like it. You could imagine why, because you probably don't mind enjoying it too, right? And so I face some people who don't quite enjoy it too, um, and sometimes um, you know I'm sort of tired myself of um, tired of myself when I think too much, or talk too much, most of it, right? uh, but and with uh, because I had this, some kind of also feedback of people who were kind of irritated by my maybe philosophical approach. I think some of them, what they've been seeing it as pretentious, or meaningless, and it's all right. That's how our perception differs, because we have a different, uh, because we so do differ, both and biologically, on some level, and psychologically too. Um, we still always have slightly, um, maybe not so slightly different perception. And what one people find enjoyable and meaningful, others don't. And what some will find as pretentious and uh, maybe too philosophical, too unnecessary, too meaningless. Others won't, because it will answer to their goal. And um, I want to go back to what I've been discussing. Um, is that, I still, if you would, if you would, um, what I believe we can know more things when we become curious of each other's perception. You know, and that's why because I do believe there is, an uh, necessity for us to expand our perception, to expand our comprehension, our knowledge of life, our knowledge of ourselves, of what is and of who we are. We need others not to be um, limited to ourselves. We need other perception not to be what just closed in our own mind. That would be awful. I'll tell you. If we would be just closed in the box of our own mind, which we partially are, but if we would be completely unable to understand others, that would be terrible. But what I want to highlight in this stream is that the surprising nature of our um, bodies, that we are capable to transmitting our live through experiences. And I'll repeat myself, when we do, we multiply it. We can multiply um, our experiences when we identify with others. Right? And so we can achieve more things because we strive to the same goal, and it's many of us. But for that, we have to be united. Um, and you, uh, union can be achieved only through the shared goal, exactly because of the nature of our perception. Because you can't just um, because if you will walk, um, without the um, chosen location to arrive to, you will your road will be meaningless. That's why we experience happiness. We receive dopamine in relation to the goal. It's a pursuit. It's a pursuit of the goal that brings us the happiness, and not just achieving it. Actually, it's pursuit of it. Um, and it can be another good question of how to be united if perception to well differ too, you know. And I think one of the ways would be to be united under the same principles, because it's like something like a law. If you are united by the same principles, your differentiations, um, they complement, they help instead of uh, being troubling. And they are actually also could be troubling in as much as, uh, well, you need troubling things to solve and to grow, because we sometimes will look at the problems and at the conflicts only as the negative experience that we receive from them, the the pointless trouble that makes us suffer. But it's not really only that, because you suffer only when you when it's when the problem is present. But the problem is there in the first place because you lack some capacity and competence. And to so the problem is exactly proportionate to your uh, inc- incompetence, you know, uh, uh, incapacity to handle something. And what it means that you grow as you find solutions to the problem, and it means that this is exactly how you grow. It means that when you start growing, the problem that you have become less problematic, because they've been problematic in the first place because you lacked capacity for something. Everything that troubles you, everything that is a problem for you, problematic in the first place because you can't resolve it, because you can't deal with it, because it's not under your control, because you don't know what to do with it, because it has its control over you and not the opposite way, right? But if and when you change the game, it stops becoming a problem. And so you actually, and we can actually reduce our problems by developing our capacity and competence. And it means that if we do it on what cooperatively, then there are more problems to solve, and then it means that there are more growths that we also can have together. And it also means that there is more value we can provide for each other. And uh, you know, another thing I want to mention about the value is that try to get what you want uh, only working by yourself, like only improving what you do, maybe only changing your result or your action, like only work on yourself, maybe mastering your skill. It will give a good result, but it will be much slower than if you would present a value for someone else. If you would present, well, same, develop yourself, develop your skill, and give value to someone else. Because you know, I believe that some things that value, they are not again don't exist just in themselves, just like randomly. They have to be worked on to be there in the first place. Like a cause and effect, Some things that we want are effects, and there is a cause that gives them a being. For example, love, for example, care, kindness, understanding, empathy, um, positive words, kind words, cheers, anything like, you know, um, this is an effect of the cause. Someone says the kind word to you, and now you're happy. You want this happiness? You want these kind words, but they will not be there without someone saying it to you. And so, because of that, I believe that we actually can complement each other. Like, I need something valuable, but it will not be there just on its own. Um, Something should do it, and oftentimes, well, it cannot be me. I can't, like, I want someone else, to maybe cheer me or to be kind to me, not only myself. I can give it myself, but I can, like, uh, you know uh, control someone else, like, you know control his will. um so because of that, we kind of need this cooperation. We need them to also be willing to give it to us. And the best way is to present a value yourself to the person and to receive the value back. This is the fastest way to get what you want. Is present the value first to receive the value you want back. Um, to that's why I think that's why by giving you will have more, and not by taking. By giving. But of course, things start to change again in the unfair game, in the um um in the game with lies and deceit. Things start to change completely, because now the perception of other people can be trusted at all. You can't take their word, their value, because they lie to you. Their words lose meaning, and instead of cooperating, you compete deceiving and undermining the value of each other's perception. This is a destruction game, not selfish game. This is a destruction game, because it strikes at the very base of perception itself. If you can't trust someone's words, it means you can't trust their perception, because their perception values their wishful desires over the comprehension of reality, over what? Over the value of reality itself, let's say, or the value of the knowing this reality. So they be trusted? They don't care for what is real, so that they are willing to exchange it for their benefit. Can they be trusted if they can't understand you at all and can't literally get your feelings, literally can't get you as you are, your perception? Can they be trusted then? No. And so that's how That's how what lies and deception break a trust-based game, which multiplies and enhances the growth. Enhances not only the growth, it enhances the life itself. Right? Because then the truth, the comprehended reality that is experienced is shared sincerely and genuinely as it is. But it means that it's an accurate representation of what the person actually thinks, what the person actually feels. So you actually able to um, identify with each other, um, to know each other, to feel each other, to see each other, to be predictable for each other, to be friends, after all, or partners. So this is something. This is something. And I tell you, hey, uh, if you will let people see and know what you truly think of, it will be valuable, right? Because even if they don't know, they need the truth and they are dependent on it. But to know the truth better, you have to compare your comprehension of reality with someone else's. Why? Because what if you lie to yourself? What if you deceive yourself? What if the lie you tell yourself is just a wishful thinking? What if the things you tell yourself is just the things you want to believe instead what you actually experience to be? How do you know that you don't see yourself? The world is full with deception and lies, and just you don't lie. The world is full with deception and lies, and just you don't deceive yourself. No, you. It's naive to think that you don't lie, and it's also naive to think that you don't deceive yourself. Because if you think you don't deceive yourself, you just have not thought it through. I think each person is deluded about some things. It's hard for him to see some things. He's biased about some things. His comprehension is limited. His perception is limited. Even more, sometimes people intentionally fracture their awareness and comprehension, right? For certain reasons. Sometimes they intentionally deceive themselves, intentionally fracture their beliefs, intentionally act out not what they um, actually experience to be true, but what they want to be true. And to expose your self-deception, you need someone else's perception. You need someone else's knowledge. You need someone else's uh, what angle um, of perception, uh, worldview, and um, to expose the lies you tell yourself, right? And no one is a saint. Everyone lies, even not knowingly. And what we truly need is to um, cooperate, helping each other to bring the truth to the surface by enhancing our understanding of it. But you know what is specific about lies? Truth manifests itself. Truth makes itself known because it is real by definition. But lies are not like that. Lies became known when the truth becomes obvious. Lies manifest when the truth becomes obvious, because lies aren't real. They're not there. They're imagined. They're a wishful reality, not an actual one. So they became evident only when truth becomes evident. They are dependent, even lies, they depend on truth. Because lies are a deviation from the truth. And so to expose our own lies, our own self-deception, our own ignorance, our own wishful thinking, we need truth to become obvious to us. And how? How can we do that? We can do that by enhancing our comprehension of it. But how will you enhance your comprehension of it if you're stuck into your mind, if you already know what you know, or if you already experience what you experience, or if you still tell yourself the lies you don't even aware of, you're not even aware of, the subconscious lies. You can't do it when someone else shares their perception with you, when someone else shares their knowledge with you, when someone else shares their experience with you. But we can still choose to be left to our reductive perception. We can still choose it. You don't have to listen to me. Don't listen to me. My perception doesn't change you. My words don't change you. My knowledge don't change you. My uh, emotions don't change you at all. Right? Your life is not changed. Why listen to me? Live as you do. Be left to your own perception. And yeah, you can't do it. This literally works. This literally works. You will live. But will you live better? Will you understand something new? Will you experience something new? Because if you take this principle and will use for everyone, I don't want to listen, I don't want to understand, then you can take anything on except of what you produce. And let me tell you, you yourself produce very little in comparison to 7 billion other people, if it's the right population. So let me tell you that there is a reason and value in each one's perception. Every perception matters for the sake of the value of truth, right? You act out what you believe in, what you fundamentally believe in. You act out, right? Belief is fundamental for the action. But if your belief is corrupted, you act out a lie. You act out, but your comprehension of reality is distorted. Let me ask you, how well can you walk when uh your vision is blurred, when you don't see clearly? How much harder it is to walk. And what if you're walking through the forest? What if there are multiple obstacles and you still continue walking because life goes on and the same troubles remain, but you just don't see clearly? What is it? A tree or a ghost? You know? And your vision is blurry. And what do you do then if your vision is blurry? I'll tell you, it's better to have someone else walking with you who sees clearly. And let me tell you, if you have a group of people being with you, you will not be lost. Not that you can be lost with a group of people, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they will be able to complement your inefficiencies. And if this is true for the vision and for the simplest navigation in the forest, through the forest, how much is it true for life, for the navigating through life, for the orienting yourself in life? The place is much bigger, the path is much harder, the obstacles are greater. Great. So what are you doing with that? But hey, obstacles are greater, right? And space is bigger, good. But people are greater too. There are more people, and if united, they can help each other to orient themselves through the forest. And is it not better to I don't know, maybe get what you want? Is it not better to your life be multiplied instead of shrinked? And is not better to know someone closely than to be a stranger with everyone, to be strangers? Is it much better in a company of closest friends than all alone? The world is cruel and harsh when you're alone. This is another reality. You say your life is no different, but let me tell you for sure, your life is hard too, and ugly too, and harsh too, right? Because everyone's life is, and if it is, then and it means that we need something and someone to make it better for us, right? A pack is better than a lonely wolf. A lone wolf dies. This was the lesson. A lone wolf dies. But the oops. Okay, saved it. But the pack survives. The pack, even competing in itself slightly, it should be friendly. It should unite for the one under the one goal, task, to survive and to strive. And it should be willing to sacrifice something for yourself, you know, for better good of others, you know, pack members. It should consider the interests of others, and to do that should enhance its comprehension by considering others and their needs. You already have grown into your understanding and comprehension of reality, because others are too part of reality. And it becomes obvious now. The most popular and wealthy people are the ones who, well, I will not say most, because who am I to know who's the most? Um, yeah, including the possibility of anonymous mm, what noble royals, I don't know what. Um, some, a great part of the individuals are there in front of many and many people. They are there. And let me tell you, they are not just there for themselves. They do something for others. Even the corrupted ones, they do something for others. Because that's what brought them to that place in the first place. So they are there in front of many and many people, bringing them value and increasing their own value. And that's how they have enhanced their life. They're helping others so others help them. And they truly grow much faster than the lonely individuals because they receive continuous feedback. And they know how to correct themselves. Why? Others help them to know how. What they don't see, others notice. What they can't grab, others do. They help them to do the things they would not be able to do on your own. Even to do a video, anything. It takes one group to do it 15 minutes and one person to do it a week or a day. Depends on the individual's capacity too. Even for something like this, like to do a video, to do anything, it takes so much more time to do it alone than with someone, right? So they do something and they can become better of what they do as they receive continuous feedback, as the hands who are ready to help them multiply, as agents who are willing and entities who are willing to share their resources with them under the shared goal and vision multiply. That's how they enhance their life. Some people are better than one. And one phrase, not my quote. They can better protect themselves. They have more chances of surviving. They can achieve more. They feel better because they are not lonely. Now it's more of them. Their experiences are shared. They can provide for themselves not only um, food and water, but care and love. People can do more than one. 3 people can do more than 2. How about 7 billion people? What can they do? Come on, Rut. Oh. 8 billion. It's 8 billion in 2023. That's what happens when you don't follow the you're remaining in which 2016, 18, 19. 22. Oh, even in 21 it was still 7. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, this is about value and cooperation. We cooperate, we multiply the value. We multiply, we don't only trade and exchange, we produce, we create, we multiply. We stop cooperating, we compete, the growth be hindered, can be hindered, because there are different kinds of competition. There is a healthy competition, which is, only enhances it, a friendly competition, and there is deceptive competition. There are unfair games that, and corrupted games that break the trust and break cooperation and make what? The exchange itself impossible. That's about value and cooperation. This is for the video. It was a good one.